Hi guys, Sygax here. This video is going to be all about Guardian raids for new players and how to complete your first Guardian raid, basically, and just some tips generally for your newer players. This isn't like a how-to guide for everyone, but this will just focus on new players. So I'm going to go over 6 easy tips to help you out. So the first tip is have your pet out. As you can see, I have a cat out right here. Alt P brings your pet window up, and you can summon it. Like you might not think, oh, I'm not going to need this in Guardian Raid, but it does give you passive buffs. Now, another tip is if you're having problems surviving and you know what type of damage you're taking, you can hit M, and on any of the biggest cities, you can look for the Pet Management NPC. So this is the first tip right here. Go to the Pet Management NPC, you can click on the pet, and you can change this. You can change this as many times as you want. Once retrained, your pets can be retrained again without any consequences. So if I'm doing a boss that's mainly physical, I'm going to change it. Takes a second, changes it to physical damage reduction, changing it back to HP. So this is just a good tip. Again, you could even take off the crit and put maybe swiftness on, or specialization, or one of your other primary stats. Again, this is limited and just a minor tip. The next tip is going to actually require us to being in a Guardian raid. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to do a level 1, and I'm going to click enter. Now, since this is lower level right here, I'm not going to want to harvest the soul. So that's your second tip right there. You can do a Guardian raid and help your friends without harvesting the soul. So next we're entering. So here's the next tip. So a lot of players have come in here and I've just seen them, like, when I've been doing these newer raids, they've just go in and die, and it's like they aren't even trying to heal. Well, only certain potions can be used in Guardian raids. So if you hit I, and you can see my bar, I have this purified healing potions. All my normal heal over time potions will not work here. You have to have one of these instant ones. So this next tip is use your percentage HP pots. Now, if you watch my other video, it tells you not to use them, except for an end game. We are now at the end game. So please use your percentage HP pots. You can only have one type on your bar, right? And you can use it. Now, let's say I go out and I use my pots, and all my pots are gone off this slot. Well, guess what? If you come back here, our next tip is it refills your HP potions as long as you have some left to use. So if you're out, you run out of pots, don't be afraid to come back. Our next tip is raid flares. They're these little guys. You drag them on your bar. Again, you can edit skills, drag anything on your bar here. And I'm going to raid flare here. I raid flare, and it shows me the position of the boss. So now I can more easily go to him. The next tip is I see the boss. How do I ping him? Control left click pings. And you can even change the pings by holding control and left click. So like I can make it danger, and this works even when you're not on the map. Alright. So now comes the last and final tip. Counters. Right, guys? Now we're going to fight this boss a little bit here so I can show you what I mean, but counter the boss when you're fighting it. You see that blue? That means that's a counterable ability. Now, how do I counter this? Well, if you look at this ability right here, it says I can counter it. So, abilities, each class will have an ability that allows them to counter. And I'll go over those secondly. But you see this boss just charged me, right? We'll wait around, and so normally you'll be like doing your DPS and everything, and I'd be attacking, if this wasn't like a low beat boss, I'd be attacking it from behind and trying to dodge mechanics and all that. So counter, boom. You see, now he's not doing any damage. You can get free hits off on him. Perfect. It also shows, see my character's name is Schoolgirl, that I countered their attack. So please, please, please learn to counter and be careful when you're doing this. So the next tip is, it doesn't show here, but if I was in a group, he would, if I had his aggro, he would have a mark over his head that showed me with his aggro. So I'm gonna do a little damage here, see if we can get another counter phase. But the tip is, you have to be ready with your counter ability, be in front of the boss, and make sure you have the ability up and you're ready to hit it. Now, some of my skills have long animations, and I might not be in it, and that's okay. You don't have to hit every counter. You know, the more counters you hit, the better. One thing is, after he uses his counter ability, his ability that is counterable, you are able to, if you miss it, he will most likely fire it off a few more times. There are situations where he won't, but most of the time they will spam it, if not instantly, every few seconds. And now, every class has a counter ability. Now, if you look right here, we have all the counter abilities for the different classes that are in the NA release. Now, some of them might be still in the Russian names, but most of these are and have been translated to English. So if you look at my class right here, I'm playing a War Dancer, so you can see that my War Dancer's counters are Sky Shattering Blow, and Asteric Skill Spiral Impact, which happens to be the same as Striker. But every class has a counter. You should use them in these fights, and it's so easy if the boss is just looking at you to just hit that ability and knock him down. It'll make you survive more. So just to recap, we went over pet changing, we went over the potion, right? We went over flares. We went over unchecking the box for Harvest Guardian Soul. As you can see here, I do not have Guardian Soul to harvest because I unchecked the box. And we went over counters. And last but not least, this is the very last tip. Take your time, guys. You have so much time to do these. I have only ever lost one raid because I ran out of time, and that was one that I was soloing, a high level one. If you're doing these in a group, remember you have plenty of time to go back, and going back and taking potions sometimes only takes a minute. So here we'll run back here, and usually, like, this is one of the maps that you get. A lot of them have shortcuts here. So like here we'll have a rope thing to take us back, right? And boom, we can hear, and boom, we're filled, and now we just walk back. And that takes a minute. It's better than wasting all of your reses. So these blue orbs are reses up in the top left. But, I mean, other than that, I really don't have much for you guys. I guess I could give you another tip, like when you're actually out of the instances and stuff, in order to find the better raid groups, right? You can press the colon key and find them that way, and I'll go over that real quick. Or in the bottom right. So if you look over here in the bottom right, you have community, and you can click on find party right here, and these are where your better raid groups are going to be. You're going to find more people here. You can sort by boss, you can sort by raid tier and everything, and these groups tend to be on average better because these people aren't just like randoms queuing up that, you know, could care less, right? These are people who actually want to try for the most part. But again, thank you for watching the video, and if you wouldn't mind, if you've watched it this far, like, comment, and subscribe. Be really great. I could use more viewers. Also, I stream every night on Twitch, so please drop by my Twitch, twitch.tv/Cygax, and I'll see you on the arc. Have a good night.